You have to use that 5 minutes to move where you're going to take the person. All of these are things that you will have to use your 5 minutes to do. And as soon as you have done that, then you will decide now the way forward. Right? So be sure you can perform the rescue without injuring yourself. Make sure that you can move the victim without further injuring the person. Because one thing is to lift the person from point A and then walk into point B, then you realize that this is not safe for the person. So you have to move on, walk in another to find a safer spot to put the person. Then you find yourself now that you are now worn out because you have to be lifting this person for a long period. So it is first that you find where you're going to put the person before you move the individual. Any question?
There are no questions at the moment, but in response to the question that you asked, the answers that you just gave are just the ones that were in the chat. They were saying call 119, report the incident, and most person were saying assess the environment to see if there is anything that will harm you. And the final one that was just received, I believe that it is not safe for non-emergency persons to move a victim because they can give spinal injury. So what this person is saying that it is best that if you're not a medical person, then you should not move someone because you may cause additional injury.
And that is correct. I will share with you that in one of my class, while I was a student, the question was asked of us. An emergency. The person needs to be rescued. We don't have the appropriate gears in which to perform. Leave the individual to die, or do we try to save that life? How best would you feel or treat a situation wherein an individual came out of a situation alive or came out of it being paralyzed? It was a tough one for us, a very tough one for us, that we ponder for that entire day, because the intention and the objective of us being trained is to save lives. And there are situations that will face us that we have to make a decision. Do we leave this person because I don't have a spinal backboard? I leave this person because I am unable to move he or she on my own without further injuring them? Or do I leave them there to die? How far away from where I am will help come from? How far is the nearest ambulance service or fire service? How longer can this individual stay in this condition? So these are situations that will face us, that we'll have to make a decision whether or not we do or we don't do. So these are just thoughts for you to consider as you move forward. But the intention and the motive behind which we try to do this type of rescue is to save lives. And in saving lives is not to cause any further injury to the victim while we do what we are doing. Okay? Any further question? None?
No questions in the chat at the moment.
All right, cool. All right. So before moving the victim, as I said before, know where you intend to move the victim before lifting. If bystanders are nearby, use them. But be sure that you are the one who gives the directives. Because you know sometimes you come upon situations, you see a motor vehicle accident and you find 10 persons giving instructions. One man is saying put him on this, one is saying put him on this, one is saying no. So this causes confusion. And more time wasted is the more detrimental the content of the person gets. So we need to have a leader who calls the decisions and to instruct what we do. So the reason for which you are now being trained MITs in these areas of basic rescue and first aid is whenever you come upon things like these, that you will assume that role of leading out. But if there's somebody there who is more experienced than you are, like a medical doctor or a firefighter who is trained in that avenue, then you allow those persons to take over, right? But you can still assist because you are trained to do so, all right? So, unless the danger is immediate, any first aid should be given before moving the victim. Whatever situation that is required a rescue, always follow some first aid administration. So if you notice your basic rescue requirements, and if you had gone through first aid, you would have realized that first aid and basic rescue are similar in some things. In order to perform in every basic rescue performance would require some act of first aid. But that's the difference. So not in every first aid act don't necessarily means you have to make a rescue. All right? So you realize that basic rescue and first aid, they are so closely knit because one complements the other. So if you suspect a spinal injury, as we have just discussed, do not move the victim. So that the first thing that we decide not to do, don't move that victim. If you're not sure how to, or if you don't know how to, then it is suggested that you don't. But as I just shared a while ago, there are some instances where this principle can be adjusted when you know what to do and how to do it. All right? We move on if there's no question. You have a question, Javon?
No question in the chat, you may proceed.
All right. So be sure it is necessary to move the victim. Know how you are trying. You have just gone through that. And we will move the victim too. So these are the principles that governs movement of victims or patients. Be sure that you are able to do those type of lifting and maintain your balance while doing those lifting. So it's important that we know how to lift, because some persons lift things and end up injuring themselves. So we must maintain that balance when doing the lifting. We must lift, move, never be in an unbalanced position. keep your footing throughout the move. And it is best that when you're lifting, that you bend your knees, because those lifting needs the foot for those strength. Because the time is going, so we're trying to go quickly through all of this. So we have gone through electricity and how to treat. Let us look at a room filled with smoke. Question to the class. What do you understand from a room filled? And how would you help someone or yourself from a room filled with smoke?
All right, so Andavia Clark, you may unmute your mic and speak.
Good morning.
Morning.
In a case where there is smoke or fumes in a room, there is more oxygen to the ground.
Okay. So as we understand it, that smoke rise, correct? So it is best that we stay low. Any other?
If your blanket are like you can wet them up and wrap yourself,
All right, so
cover yourself.
smoke rises, we've confirmed that. Wet cloth to cover the person's nose and mouth. Get as close to the ground as possible. Stay as low as possible.
All right. So the answers that I'm looking for. As I said before, these are things that we know, but sometimes we don't practice them and we don't share them with those who don't know. So this might not happen to you, but it can happen to someone else. So the further you share it and the more you share it, the better person will be if and when they are faced with these situations. So the knowledge you gain should not be kept to yourself. We should impart them. Whether or not you know it, yes or no, you don't know how far and wide that which you have feared would have gone. All right? We look at this acronym, RACE, which is race. And this is used in carrying out a rescue situation. So it is, R is carrying out a rescue operation. A is call fire department. C is confined, which is closed door and windows. And E is to extinguish. Try to put out that fire. So if you find yourself in a room filled with smoke, we just learned, we crawl. If you can cover your mouth and nose with a wet cloth, you do so. If it's not wet, then you have to use a dry one anyway. All right? In order to do this, I'll put the scenario to you again. You are in a room and the fire is on the outside and you are locked into your room. The alarm went off that there's a fire outside. Let's say you're in a building and there's a passageway and the fire is out in the passage. You are in your room. Take me through the steps that you would follow to keep yourself safe until you're rescued.
Alright, so like when you say get on a signal, you can't be same thing for after it. Oh, you get it up. I have to make a job. Right. First thing you can't hold that in my mind. Then you have to get it good now. I mean, I understand you can't big me.
Anybody?
No response in the chat
Nobody?
yet.
Yeah, I come. You might not come.
Alright, so first response. You can utilize the wet cloth for the mouth and nose. Wet a blanket and wrap around yourself. Keep close to the ground.
Is that in response to the question I just asked and the scenario I gave a while ago about a fire being on the outside and you're locked in the room?
If you test the door handle first. If you test the door handle.
Sir partner,
Yes, ma'am. Morning.
just to give a push start for the answering. What I would do is to ensure that I don't attempt to open the door and block the bottom of the door to keep the smoke from coming in as much as possible. So that is what I would do first.
All right, thank you very much. Because I want to know that you will see where it says make your way to the door, and if the door is closed, feel it. These are the steps that I want you to follow. Think about the situation. It's oxygen. So if you're inside your room and the fire is outside, the fire can only get in when you open the door or when the door burns down. So you have enough time to do some cooling down operation. As long as you have water in that room, you can keep that door wet. But in no point, you should be quick to open that door. You can close the window if you can't escape through it. So you shut off the wind from coming inside. Remember now, the fire is in the passageway. So even if the door can open, you will have to contend with that fire going through the passageway. So it is best if you stay inside, keep the fire from coming in. Alright? Or you try to find another way out. But you see, sometimes we look at situations, we tend to think of the more modern things. But remember that the ways in which some of our houses are now built, we are now caged into our own living with all the burglar bars you can find. So you find that the veranda is grilled. You find that the room doors are now grilled. And all the windows that surround the house are grilled. So we find ourselves that we are now caged in case of an emergency. One of the key points to note is we need to know where to find the keys for that grill. So your mother comes in, open that grill, she puts the key on the center table. Somebody comes in again, get the key, open the grill, then put the key on top of the chester jar somewhere. Another person comes in and take that key and put it into the kitchen. So when you find that in a case of emergency and we need to get out and the padlock to the grill is locked, nobody knows where to find that key. So we need to have a central spot where that key is always placed. We also need to know when building our houses or when living in a dwelling that we always find the escape route in case of an emergency. Because the time we're going to spend running around finding places or trying to get out when we would have already identified. So those are key points, and those are important things to know and to teach our children and our grandparents that this is where the key is. And this is where the key will always be. All right? So first, we try to keep the fire from getting in. Keep the doors closed. Close the windows. If we can't seem to get out of that building. All right?
Master Guide Partner,
Yes, sir.
we have a raised hand, but before I take Militia Powell, then a question is being asked. What about wetting the clothes that you're in?
Yes, ma'am. That is also a factor. That is also part of the cooling down. So in case you have to go through the fire, you understand though, let me share with you quickly before you take that raised hand. The building fire, you have to get out. And if the only means of getting out of the building is through that passageway, is it better to get burned and live than to die in that fire? Think about it. You can take the question from that raised hand.
All right, Militia.
Saying in regards to the buildings, we should build them in such a way that they can swing open. So we should have at least maybe 1 or 2 windows in the house that we can always go to for emergencies. And this is something that as master guides we can recommend to the planning committee. I don't remember the name of the place that you have to submit your plans to. But these are recommendations that we can make to them as well.
To the parish council?
Parish council, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, good idea. But it's quite unfortunate though that we have to be living in these kind of conditions where we have to imprison ourselves in our own homes. All right? If there's no further question on that, we can move on. All right, this one is also one of those that have caused many discussion at times and panic. And I should have shared with you earlier that in any situation that we intend to perform an act of rescue or give any service in regards to first aid, that you, the rescuer or the first aider, remains calm. Always remember to remain calm. We are tempted sometimes to be emotional, especially when it is our loved ones, a family member. Remain calm. That you try not. You, the rescuer, need to assure the victim that he or she is going to be okay. You, the yourself, is calm and you are not panicking. Because the victim needs assurance. The victim needs to be assured that regardless of what is happening to me, I'm going to be okay. Because one of the first things that happens to a victim when trapped in a situation is that he or she is going to die. And you can assure this victim that I am here to help you. You are going to be okay. You can talk this victim through the whole process. But if you are panicking and you are not calm, then you would have lost the opportunity to save a life. Always remember to stay calm and not to panic. So I need to be rescued. You are here to rescue me. But then you are running upon your whole place, a ball and a scream and a Jesus and a ball and a help. That does not assure me. Sir, this is happening to you. Sir, I'm here to help. Sir, madam, please remain calm. My name is X. I am here to help. Talk the person through their situation. Take their minds off what is happening to them. What is your name? Where do you work? Ask questions. So this will help the person to take their mind off what is actually happening to them and to engage in a conversation. So that will now allow the person to breathe properly. Because that individual will now be panicking, start behaving out of control. And panicking is one of those stages wherein your breathing becomes rapid. So you're now gone into a panic attack. So the person is now panicking. You are not calm. You are also panicking. So who is going to help you? So it is very important that you try your best to remain calm and to talk to the person while you're going along with them. All right? So a person is on fire. Or you yourself, your clothes might catch fire. What do? It says be over on the ground. What is running? What do? Question to the class. Because the first thing that's going to happen to an individual when they find themselves burning, their clothes caught fire, the first thing that individual tends to do is to run. Tell me now, what would you do, MIT, as the rescuer? Any attempts so far, Javon?
None in the chat, but Melissa Sennett, you may unmute your mic and respond. Melissa Sennett, you may unmute your mic and state your response. All right, so we don't have a response as yet. All right, so advise the person to stop, drop, roll.
All right, good. That is in advice then. So what if the person doesn't take your advice? Remember, as I said earlier, the rescue must be done. It is immediate that it be done. So the person will not stop running. But you have to help this person. What do?
Wait one blanket.
All right, quickly I'll share with you, because this act of rescue is one that have to be done. So I'll have to run the person down. I have to try catch a person, not hold on to, but to get them to the ground. Whatever means it takes me to get this person to the ground, I will have to. Whether kicking them down, tripping them, whatever it takes, I need to get this person on the ground. The person who is on fire will never think quick enough that these are you're trying to help me. They are running to find help beside you. So the fact of you being so the first option is to run. And in run, the fire gets worse because it is now being fed by that wind. That oxygen that is now blowing makes the fire worse. So you find that the person is now burning in blaze because the person is running. So it is for you to get that person to the ground. Remember now that with this in mind, the person will get something. Depends on how long the person ran for to rescue somebody. The aim is to preserve life. All right? We look at fire. And this diagram is the triangle of combustion and X. As we look at this, I want somebody, an MIT, to take me through what you've seen here. Explain to me the process. Fire. What caused fire? Combustion. Anybody?
Alright, there are responses in the chat, but I would rather if maybe you want to explain verbally. But a response that I got in the chat is the type of extinguisher for the type of fires or what the fire is caused by.
All right. I'll go with the next slide will speak to that. What I'm asking is, you find you have starvation. So what do you do to cause the starvation of this fuel?
Smother the air.
Here. So look at in the room. What you're gonna do now? You're gonna close the windows and you're gonna close the door because you want to now starve this fire because it needs air in order to get bigger, right? Remember now that the first instance, every fire starts small. So you are in your kitchen and you're frying. The fire caught the window curtain in the kitchen because some of us are close to the windows. So let's say the window get caught fire, the curtain. What do you do? I can tell you before you tell me. The first thing that one will do is get panic. And get panic, you run away, screaming for help. Fire, fire, fire. No, that curtain that just caught fire was this small. You could easily drag that curtain down, throw it into the sink, turn on the pipe on it. Or you move the frying pan from the fire. So as long as the frying pan is not on the stove, that fire in the frying pan will die. But the first thing that we tend to do is to run away. Remember I said, every fire starts small.
I got it.
All right? So let us think about it.
And if you got it,
In panic, robs you of the ability to think and to act. Remember, in not to do is panic. Assess the situation, think about it quickly, because what? A fire can easily be contained and be controlled. All right? So remember the principles: fuel, air, and heat. All these are what contributed to fire, control of fire. So we look at type of, so we see here we have wood, paper, textiles, etc. Normal, in 3 of the 4 fires. So it is important that, if you notice though, that in most of our public buildings, if you find a fire extinguisher there, it will always be a dry chemical. I know that we have never stopped to look at it, but it is the most widely used. All right? Because a dry chemical and a wet chemical, for the paper and the normal types of fire, the wet chemical.
At this time, Master Guard Faulkner, please proceed.
All right. And it is important that we know them and that we understand. All right, being able to swim and to save someone's lives takes more. So even though you can swim, if you're not trained in lifeguard type of rescue, never attempt to go out to save that person. All right? We'll run along, since you will find this information in your slide or in the project that you will be doing. A non-swimmer is typically in panic, as I said to you, and most of the times those who are going to save the individual is also in panic, because he's your brother, she's your sister, he's my son or she's my daughter. So that act of trying to rescue that person, you are panic in doing so. So you also lose the ability to think. So your panic, the individual who's drowning is also panic. And in trying to save such a person, you put your life at risk. You have ever heard of it wherein the news says that 2 brothers drowned? You ever ask yourself, how possible could that be? It is possible, because one saw the other drowning and go trying to help, and end up that one who's drowning taught the victim, coach them into kicking their legs.
Device, how do you approach the victim with it?
Keep the flotation device between you and the victim so that you're not going to grab me. I'm going to have that device between us so that you can grab that and I'm still safe and we can both go to shore.
To throw directly at the victim. To throw slightly upwind so that the item has